next part of our ratios and proportion unit where we are actually creating proportions and solving proportions today. So that's your learning target. I can create and I can solve proportions. It is the heart of 7th grade. You must know how to set up a proportion. You must know how to solve a proportion. A proportion is an equality of two ratios. So it looks like this. Look at that little proportion skeleton. That's what I call that. I call this a proportion skeleton. And I don't want to box it off because it looks weird if I box it off. But it's really two fractions that equal each other. That's what a proportion is. A ratio is really a fraction. So it's really like, 1/3 is proportional to 3/9. It's two fractions that equal each other. I'm going to give you two fractions today in your homework set, and your expectation is to tell me if those two fractions are proportionally to each other. Proportional means equal. Are the two fractions equal to each other? Here's how you can tell. You can tell, strategy number 1, if you can multiply one fraction to get the other fraction. Like the one I gave above. I can multiply 1/3 times 3, and I get 3/9, or both the numerator and denominator by 3. You can also, second strategy, see if they simplify down into the same thing. Simplify them. See if they're the same fraction. Like if I have 1/3 and 3/9, well, 3/9 is 1/3. Yep, they're a proportion. Proportion, equal fractions. Okay, or ratios. I don't usually use those, even when it's super easy to tell, because I know setting up a proportion is incredibly important, and you're usually not going to have ones you can do in your head that easy. This is what I always do. I see if their cross products are equal to each other. I'll show you what that means. Let's go back to 1/3 is 3/9. A cross product is when you multiply the diagonals. Cross, diagonal, product, multiply. That's what that means. Cross product. Multiply the diagonals. So I want to know, does 1 times 9 equal 3 times 3? Heck, yeah, it does. 9 equals 9. They are proportional.
Yay.
Now, it might seem annoying to you, especially if it's one that you can do really fast, but trust me, most of them are not ones that you can do mentally. So this strategy, the cross product strategy, is the best strategy. And you use this to identify if two fractions are proportional. That means do two fractions equal each other? Okay, so I want to know, are 2/3 and 10/15 equal to each other? Well, let me set up my cross product, and it doesn't matter which diagonal you start on. You can start on any. Does 2 times 15 equal 3 times 10? Yep, 30 equals 30. Yes, they sure are proportional. And I know, again, some of you might have been able to just times them both by 5 and notice that. If you can use mental math, do it. I'm just using the one that is the most helpful when you can't use mental math. This one, again, you can use mental math. You can times 1 by 9 and 9 by 9 to get the other fraction. But the way that will never steer you wrong is the cross product. Does 1 times 81 equal 9 times 9? Yes, it sure does. 81 equals 81. Yes, these two fractions or ratios are proportional. This is why we care the most about cross products. We can can utilize proportions to equal fractions and cross products, knowing that their cross products are equal to each other, you can solve for an unknown. So anytime you have a variable, you can solve it. Mental math always. You can always use mental math. But if you can't use mental math, you set their cross product equal to each other. And then you solve. Now use mental math anytime you can. Like what do you guys, when you look at this first example, what do you get? What
18.
do you think? N is what?
18.
18. So Demi says N is 18. But let me show you, I always do cross product because I just never know. I mean, I'm just so used to doing cross product. How I set the cross product up, I always start with my variable diagonal because I like it on the left-hand side. So I say 8n equals 3 times 48, whatever that is. Huh? 3 times 48 is 144. And then you would divide to get the variable alone. Divide both sides by 8. And n equals 18. Same strategy. Yes, this one looks like way more work than doing it mentally. But you can't always do it mentally. So that's why you use this method. It will never steer you wrong. Ever. As long as you set it up right. Okay, you could do mental math here. 7 times 6 gave me 42. So I could times this by 6 and get 12. You could. But let me just show you the cross product. Start with the diagonal side. X times 7 is 7x equals 42 times 2 is 84. And then you divide. 84 divided by 7 is 12. Okay, so I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to just I'm going to try to get us to some good ones. I don't want to waste all of our time. Next one I'll do is this middle one. I'm going to set the cross. I don't know what to times 9 by to get to 12. Do you know what to times 9 by to get to 12? No. That's when cross products come in handy. So I'm going to go 12 times y, which is 12y, equals 9 times 8, 72. Divide 72 divided by 12 is 6. Y equals 6. And hey, look, can you do this one mentally? Do you know what to times 8 by to get to 28?
Yeah.
I don't know what to times it by, but I know my cross product will give me the right answer. So I'm going to go 28 times y, or 28y, equals 8 times 7, 56. Y is 56 divided by 28, 2. Who would have known? Okay, that's great. I want you to set up the next ones and then we'll compare.